Hello and welcome to my channel, Inspiring Life Changes. This is a reading today for all Geminis, Sun, Moon, Rising and Venus. If you don't know your Moon, Rising and Venus, I will put a link below for a free astrology chart. So it's a general reading, which means that it won't resonate with everybody out there. But hopefully it will resonate with some Geminis out there. If it doesn't resonate, then you can check out your other readings for your Moon sign, your Venus sign and your rising sign. Also, if you are a cross-watcher, if you're reading this for somebody else that you're interested in, then just be aware that the energies that come out could also be for yourself rather than for the other person. I'm going to start the reading today with the Namaste cards. That's the box for the Namaste cards, and they are done by Tony Carmine Salerno. Beautiful cards, really beautiful cards. So we'll see what the universe wants to say to Gemini to start the reading. And I will do the main part of my reading with the Greek Mythic Tarot, which was originally done by Juliet Sharman and Liz Green. It is the original Greek Mythic Tarot deck. And I will end the reading with one of these cards, or however many cards the universe decides to give me, which is Ask and It Is Given. And these cards are done by Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks, and they are channeled information from Abraham Hicks. If you don't know who Abraham Hicks is, I suggest you go online and look him up. If you do know who Abraham Hicks is, then you'll be aware of his channeled work and his messages. So, for Geminis, all Geminis out there, end of October reading, now until the end of October. What is the message for Geminis that the universe wants you to know? Oh, I think that's probably a few too many. I'll just put them back in. I'm sure the universe doesn't want you to know all that. It could just be very confusing. So, try again. What message or messages does the universe want to give to the Geminis, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? And we have a card that's fallen out here. Very beautiful card. And it says, a blessed idea. An idea manifests endless blessings, but you must act to bring the idea to life. The time is right. Know that the world is full of ideas floating around aimlessly until someone notices and breathes life into them. This is your time to shine. Have faith. So it's saying that you can bring your ideas into reality. It looks like trees, coloured trees. It could also be a brain as well. On some level, it looks like it could be a very colourful, very busy thinking brain that's connected to everything else. So the card's message is a blessed idea. So for all you Geminis out there, if you have ideas that you have yet to put into practice, it's saying now is the time to do it. Now is the time. Don't leave it too late. Act on it. Do it. Trust yourselves. So, the main bulk of this reading is going to be done using the Greek Mythic Tarot. So for all Geminis, Sun, Moon, Rising and Venus, what, universe, are the messages or the message that you have for Geminis that are out there needing some kind of insight into what's taking place in their lives? What is the message for Geminis from now until the end of October? Here we go. We have a flyer, and it is the King of Pentacles. This is the heart of your reading. This is the very centre where everything else is stemming out from. King of Pentacles, in this particular deck, is known as King Midas. And the message here is that he had the ability to turn everything that he touched into gold, which sounds great to start with, but it can become very burdensome, very tiresome, very wearisome when you can't actually hold somebody without them turning to gold. It's probably not a good plan to have a relationship. So in many ways, although this card is very, he's very dependable, he's very loyal, he's a very, and this doesn't have to be a man, it can also relate to women as well. It's just an energy, it's an energy. So it's saying that this person or this energy is very much about the physical realm. It's very much about being focused on achieving money, wealth, resources. And it has a goat in the background here, and I always liken the goat to the mountain goat. And if you think of a mountain goat, it always tries to climb higher. It's quite Capricorn in that sense, that it's never satisfied with where it achieves. It's always got to go higher. It gets to a certain level and looks for the next level up, the next rung of the ladder. It's never enough. And that's kind of what this is saying here, that it's never enough. It's a real kind of focused energy on achievement and providing. He is a great provider as well, but he can provide in the sense of he doesn't understand that sometimes people just do want a hug rather than just being given money. It's like, you know, they just need, especially in, you know, in family, he can be quite, you know, resolve issues, shall we say, by throwing money at it because it seems to be the easiest answer rather than actually looking deeper into a problem. So that's the heart of the reading at the moment. Heart of the reading, the King of Pentacles. He's very loyal, he's very trustworthy. He or she, like I said, it is just an energy. It is an energy that is around at the moment. There's nothing genderist about this energy. It's just saying that it's a striving, active energy. And that can relate to women just as much as it relates to men. So it is to do with having probably reached a certain stage in your life where you feel that you've achieved a lot, but you're not necessarily happy with everything that you have because it is just possessions at the end of the day. It is just possessions. And possessions do not always give us satisfaction on a deeper level. So what else do we have for Geminis? What else do Geminis need to know about their reading at this moment in time? Another flyer. So they're going to come out one by one. This is what's in your head, what you're aware of. This is what's above the situation. The Five of Cups is saying that there has been a relationship here where one person wasn't as open and honest, and there's now a feeling of betrayal. There's a feeling of somebody thinking, I never really got to know that person as well as I feel I should have or could have. It's somebody running out. If you look here, the 4 cups are spilt at the bottom. There is still 1 cup standing, but this figure here is fleeing the situation. And this is actually the figure who feels betrayed by Psyche here. In the Greek tarot, this is Psyche and Eros. But she also feels betrayed. There is just a situation of both feeling betrayed because one person didn't keep to their side of the bargain, I suppose. It's kind of, she was supposed to just accept Eros as he was. She wasn't supposed to ask any questions. She wasn't supposed to look on him. She was just supposed to accept the situation that she was in. But of course we find that difficult and we want to know more, and she wanted to know who it was that she was actually with. So she took a lamp when he was sleeping, and a drop of the candle fell on his face, and he woke up and he realized that she had betrayed him because he told her that she would have to just live with him, only seeing him or being with him at night time. And that kind of represents the night is the kind of like keeping things under wraps, keeping things hidden, keeping things in the dark without bringing it out to light. And that's what this card is saying, that there's this feeling of betrayal in an emotional situation where somebody hasn't been completely who the other person thought they were. So that's what's in the head and what you're aware of. And it could very much relate to the King of Pentacles being discovered, in the sense of him not showing his true nature, him not being able to show that affection, show that love that the other person needs. So what is below this situation? What is the message for Geminis that is below this situation at present? What is it that Geminis need to understand about this situation? Also, with the Five of Cups, Psyche also realises, as her lover flees, that everything that she had, she has now lost. That she no longer has the beautiful palace that she was living in. That just all disappears. And it is a bit like that when two couples split up. It's often the case where you have to come to terms with not only losing that person, but also losing the environment that you might have built up together. And so we have a card below, in the past, and what's coming in. So the card that's below And the root cause, the subconscious, what you're not so aware of, is the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is good in the respect that it is an ending. It is a completion. It is saying that there is light at the end of the tunnel. In this particular card, this figure here is totally mentally exhausted. He has worn himself out with his own overthinking things. His mind has reached a point where it can no longer find any other avenues. It's just like these furies here are his worst nightmare, and they just keep at him constantly, day and night. There is no rest for this person. It's just turmoil in his thinking, in his brain, in his mental body, exhaustion. He can't put anything down mentally, and he reaches that point where he just has to surrender. He has to surrender to it, and it's only in that surrendering that he can let it go. And in that moment, Athene arrives, who is also justice, and she kind of tells these furies to back off, that that's enough. They can't do any more damage to him than what they've already done. But the sun's rising in the background, so there is a new day dawning. And the Ten of Swords says to us that we have to drop our our mental, our intellectual worries, our fears, our stresses, and this is in the subconscious. This is what you're not so aware of that is happening. And there could be a situation here that somebody who was so frightened of a situation that they just thought the worst. It's negative thoughts over and over and over and over again, and almost like you end up manifesting this negative situation, and you lose something that was quite positive at the time in the doing of the negative thoughts. So the negative thoughts have manifested this situation of betrayal because somebody couldn't let it drop. Over and over again, this constant need, this constant need to know. They need to know, what is this about? What is this person hiding? What are they not telling me the truth about? And it may just be something really innocent, but it may be something that kind of gets to a point where the other person can't take it any longer, and they just flee the situation and leave for their own well-being. It could also be that this person who is fleeing the situation doesn't have the capacity, like the King of Pentacles in some ways, doesn't have the capacity to understand a person's needs in any other way apart from in the physical realm of, like, you know, oh, I'll give them money for it, that should solve the problem. Rather than thinking, you know, this is an emotional situation that needs to be dealt with here, and money does not resolve emotional situations. If somebody is in need of emotional support, then throwing money at that situation isn't going to make it any better. And what's moving away is the Page of Swords. Now that's an interesting card that comes after the 10. And there's a new energy in this card. It's what's moving away though, but sorry about the glare. But the Page of Swords is the kind of energy that it wants to know, and it kind of goes along with this as well, because it wants to know. It will keep digging. It's a playful energy. It's not necessarily a nasty, vindictive energy, although it can get a little bit tiresome and a little bit, it's like questions, a bit like a child. It's a bit like having a young child who just constantly keeps badgering you for answers on things, and even when it gets an answer on something, that answer's not good enough, and it will just keep going on and on and on. It's that kind of energy. It's the kind of poke, poke, poke until, like, you know, the person that's being poked, a bit like a bear, will turn around and just like rah, which kind of, you know, makes this individual here wonder, what on earth have I done? Why did that happen? What caused that to happen? Because they really don't, they are very innocent in that respect. They don't really know why they got the reaction that they got. There's a sense of confusion, a sense of, but all I wanted to do was find out more about you. All I wanted to do was know who you really are. Often on an intellectual level. So that's the Page of Swords, which is moving away. And what's coming in is the King of Cups. And King of Cups is all about the emotions. It's a completely emotional situation of sitting in the emotions. Even the colour of his robe, the blue of the robes. The thing about the King of Cups, which I always find very interesting, is that he tends to, like Cancer, because this kind of king can represent the water signs of Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces, but like the crab, this king finds it very difficult to be direct. Unlike this king here, who is much more direct, much more straightforward, much more kind of practical, pragmatic, and sees things from a sensible viewpoint. This king is much more your emotional, sensitive, intuitive, and he will tend to approach a situation sideways rather than being direct and full on about something. He will come at it from various different angles, which can be confusing and can be a little bit like baffling baffling to people who don't understand the way a crab works, because crabs always walk sideways. They never go directly at anything. So this is very much the King of Cups. He also is the wounded healer. He's somebody who finds it very, very difficult to heal himself. Fantastic carers, fantastic healers of other people, will listen to other people's problems and still sort out other people's situations. He's a really good listener. Great healers, but their attention is always on somebody else. They find it very difficult to bring that attention back to themselves and heal their own wounds. And that can be another reason why people flee a situation, because they can't heal themselves. And when a situation gets to the point of somebody wanting to know more about you, wanting to know you on a deeper, more I wouldn't say spiritual level as such, but it's going deeper into that realm of emotional sharing something with another person. It can be scary. It can definitely be something that's, you know, you're vulnerable. You're putting your sensitive soul out there. And the King of Cups tends to have problems doing that. He would much rather focus on other people's issues and other people's problems, because it's so much easier to deal with other people's than it is to deal with their own. So there may well be somebody who has these two kinds of different personalities in many ways. You know, they're very pragmatic on one level, but on another level they can be very emotional and kind of easily offended, and not understand when you don't understand them. as well. The arguments that the Page of Swords can cause, the discord. So I would clarify the Five of Cups to see what the bigger situation is here. That wasn't meant to happen at all. We have a whole load down here. And do I take them? Do I take them? Do I take them? Go on then. Go on. All of them? Oh, right, quickly. So the Ace of Swords is an energy of, and it's reversed as well, but it's an energy of, if it was in the upright, it would be an energy of seeing things clearly and standing in your power of, well, it is Athene again. If you look here, it's Athene who turns up later in this card as well. Oops, sorry. Athene, it's the same goddess of wisdom, who's also the goddess of battle as well. So there is a situation, there can be a situation where we get so used to battling that we just don't know how to put that sword down and just say, right, okay, I'm just not going to, because she's kind of standing there waiting, almost waiting, ready for the next onslaught. And because it's upside down, I would say that there is a situation here where somebody is not finding any clarity. They don't feel as though they're standing in their power. They feel that they are without strength in this situation. They're without, they don't have the ability, or they feel as though they don't have the ability. This is what's going on in their head, is that they don't have the ability to make rational decisions, to see a situation in a rational fashion. They're kind of all caught up with the emotions of this situation here. So that's the Ace of Swords. And we also have the Knight of Swords, and this again has turned up upside down, reversed card. So usually the Knight of Swords would be about quick movement, moving away from a situation as fast as possible, but in this particular card it's saying that it's stuck. There's a situation, again, if you look at these two cards, they both have this kind of air, turbulence. I always liken that to kind of this turbulence, this storm, this kind of in the background waiting to happen. But it's also what's kind of going on in the mind, is that it kind of this constant battle with the self in many ways, of not being able to find any peace in a situation. The peace just isn't there, and it kind of is making things very hard to move forward. So I'm going to put all of these on, well, maybe not. So should we have a clarifier for, we'll have a clarifier for the Page of Swords. Okay, interesting. A clarifier that we got for the Page of Swords is the Five of Swords. This is definitely, I mean, it is a Gemini reading, so it kind of makes sense in the sense that Gemini are all about the mind, the Mercury energy, the mercurial, constant changing energy. But in this particular card, the swords here, the Five of Swords, he's been told he has to do something that he doesn't necessarily want to do in the situation. This is Apollo. Apollo kind of represents the masculine sun, the kind of patriarchal system, if you like, of being told like you have no options, you can't make a decision for yourself, this is something that you have to do because it's kind of written in law, so to speak. So it's feeling backed into a corner and feeling like there's no way out, there's no choices, but there is always choice. He does have choice, but he just does not feel as though he has that choice, and it's that problem that leads to this here, because he goes along with what Apollo asks him to do, and when he does that, it causes him this amount of stress and grief, worry, fear, self-loathing in many ways as well, self-hatred for what he's had to do. He no longer sees himself as being a worthy individual. He basically, he just wants to curl up. He just wants to curl up and just not be there. That's really, you know, you can see him like in a fetal position. But it is kind of like saying that, you know, there is a new, at the end, there is always a new beginning. So once you reach that ending, there will be a new beginning. So I'm also going to clarify the King of Pentacles with the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is a card of working with others and being able to accept other people's generosity at a time when you yourself may not be able to give them back. But they see your worth. They see that you're worth something. They see that you can achieve something that in the long run will be beneficial to people that you can then pass it on to. So this could also be a family situation here as well, because the King of Pentacles is very much a family orientated man. He does like to be, he's the earth sign, he's your Capricorns, your Tauruses, and your, some brain's gone blank there, Virgos. So they are all very down to earth, pragmatic. They like things the way they like things. They like their possessions. They like their possessions, and there is a, with the Three of Pentacles here, it's saying that, you know, he's built up. He's gone from kind of having nothing to a situation where he now has everything that he believes he needs, but everything that he believes he needs is very much on a physical level. It's not necessarily giving him the satisfaction that he thought it would give him. And what's coming in with the King of Cups here is the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is taking a risk. There's a risk that needs to be taken. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere, really. And again, it's reversed. So there is this feeling of not being able to accept what's on offer. Whatever it is that's on offer here with this three as well, which also came out reversed. But whatever it is that's on offer is not necessarily easily accepted. Whether it's an apology, whether it's a gift of something that somebody's apologising for, it's not easily accepted. And there is a risk involved in accepting whatever it is that is being offered. So there is a need here to look on a deeper level of what it is that you are being offered, because here with the Seven of Cups it is saying that there's a lot of confusion around this. There's a lot of not knowing what it is that this could lead to. If you were to accept this, would it lead you back down this path of nostalgia and a feeling of betrayal? Would you just end up going over the same ground the same emotional situations. So there is a need here to focus on what it is that you want in your life for you, not for anybody else, but what is good for you. And really look at the offer that is being handed to you and try and see if it's a legal offer. Then try and get somebody else to look it over and see whether it's in your favour, rather than just accepting it. So that's the main reading, and I will close this reading up with a Ask and It Is Given card. We'll see what the messages are for you, what the universe wants you to know on a bigger level of asking. What is it you should ask for? What is it that it's right for you to ask for? Oh, there we go. We have nothing happens without my having invited it. And the message here is, when you understand the law of attraction, you are never surprised by what occurs in your experience, for you understand that through your own thought process, you have invited every bit of it in. Nothing can occur in your life experience without your invitation of it through your thought. And this is very much a thought-related reading. It's all very swords, all very mind-orientated, all very mental body. And this is saying that you need to realise that you yourself have a part to play in this, that you have invited this into your life. For whatever reason and for whatever lesson that you need to learn from it, there is something here that you maybe even keep inviting into your life over and over again. And maybe it's something that you need to understand on a deeper level, that you can no longer keep on thinking in the same way, that it's time to move from that thought pattern, those negative thought patterns that keep bringing you down to this situation over and over again, and release that and let that go. And there are ways to do that. There are techniques, modalities that will allow that to happen. I myself do one that's called EFT, or tapping as it's also known. And it is a phenomenal technique which can release past trauma, present trauma, even trauma that has been stuck in the mental body, the physical pain or the emotional pain of something. You can really work deeply with that those issues in your life, and you can release them and remove them. Because if we keep having the same mental process over and over again, we will just keep repeating the same stories in our lives over and over again. And this is saying that you have to allow yourself to accept your role in that. Nothing happens without my having invited it. So Gemini, I hope that reading helped you. If you are interested in a personal private reading, my information will be, hopefully, in the link below, in the description below. I will link it in the description below, and I will also link a free astrology chart for you to find out your birth chart if you don't already know it. I'm wishing you all the best, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.